last time we get the statement from the coach.
That's true, yeah.
Where is he? I'm not. Oh, should I run over?
No, I don't really have any questions to it.
Just ask him how this atmosphere affects his team.
Sure, I mean you can if you want.
We'll ask him after.
Hello and welcome to the new Welsh Ryan Arena for what's shaping up to be a fantastic matchup between these conference foes and storied rivals Loyola Academy and the St. Ignatius Wolfpack. Loyola's coming in at 17-9 overall and 7-5 in the conference, but they're on a 3-game losing skid. So they're going to come in here and look to correct that against this Ignatius team. Now, Ignatius, on the other hand, is having an off season. You know, normally their basketball team is good. They're competing year in and year out for this title. However, they come in at 11-13 overall and 2-9 in the conference. They've lost their last 3 by a combined 12 points, including a really tough 2-point overtime loss.
Yeah, definitely. But you have to know when St. Ignatius comes into this game. Excuse me, both teams on the both teams no matter. Excuse me, Jesus. You know, both teams, no matter what their previous record was, you know they're going to come in here and put a hard fight in. Just because, both teams really want this matchup, this trophy. Both teams are going to play aggressive. Some know each other. It's going to be a really aggressive and really exciting matchup between the two teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, while Ignatius may not be having the best season, this game means a lot to them. I mean, you could compare this to Loyola's homecoming football. Loyola football is a religion. In all honesty, football is the big thing. But then once you get to this week, once you get to Jesuit Cup week, it's just a different feeling around school. It's a different feeling. It's a different atmosphere. This basketball team, if you look at the student sections, it's unbelievable. This Loyola team's got, at least like 200 or 300 people in it. This Ignatius student section, while smaller, is starting to fill up. Ignatius had a whole spirit week leading up to this. This is a big deal for both teams. So, records, talent, everything gets thrown out the window once you come into this game because every single year it's a close one. And then you know what? This year is not going to be any different, Edward.
Yeah, definitely. Both teams are going to be hungry for this one. Loyola has the trophy right now, as we saw Quinn Pemberton walk it in from the tunnel for the Ramblers.
As the captain does.
Yes, definitely. But, as you said, both student sections starting to fill up, and they always play, have an impact on this game. They're always loud. They're always chanting. And, you got the Loyola pep band here, so it's going to be a good one, especially, in this new Welsh Ryan Arena.
Absolutely. Just again, a thank you, to Northwestern for hosting this. A thank you to the faculty and staff at Loyola Academy for making this possible for us. Freshman and sophomore in high school, we're out here courtside at Welsh Ryan Arena, the new Welsh Ryan Arena, commentating the first varsity basketball game ever played here. The night before New Trier plays, we're the first ones. So this is fantastic. This is an unbelievable opportunity for both us and this basketball team. And, hopefully they can come out with a W. So we've got a bit of an interesting schedule for you guys today in terms of who's going to be broadcasting. I will be bringing you the first quarter along with Jamila. Second quarter will be me and Edward. Third will be Jamila and Edward. And Eddie and I are going to be finishing everything off in the fourth quarter. And hopefully that'll be an epic fourth quarter. So, Edward, we're about 5 minutes until tip-off. Looking at the records, what has gone wrong the past 3 games for Loyola that they're going to look to fix here?
I think the main thing is they have not been controlling the pace in any one of those games. Other teams have been able to out-athletize them, control the pace, play their type of game. So what Loyola's going to need to do, they want to slow the pace down, be patient with the ball, swing it around, and find their open man, hopefully from beyond the arc. If not, feed it inside to the Kwasinski twins. With Connor Barrett being out, the Kwasinski twins have played big roles in, all 3 of those games and before that. So, if your 3-point shot isn't falling, you definitely want to feed it inside to the Kwasinskis and let them finish inside.
Oh, yeah.
For the buckets.
100%. And I think, when you really look at how Loyola's been playing, it's been a struggle without Barrett. He's one of their senior leaders. He's one of their prime players, and he's their best shooter. But, when it really comes down to it, I think Loyola's a great team. They can shoot inside and out. They've got other, threats from the outside. I think Landon is, he's knocking down shots at a high rate right now. Everything seems to be falling for him. Pemberton, when asked to, can shoot. This roster's loaded. And, like you mentioned, the Kwasinskis, they have offers from DePaul. And that's no small offer. DePaul,
no, it's not.
While they've been down the past few years, it's a great program. They recruit the best of the best.
And that's a good point. They have all these choices of Chicagoland schools, including Whitney Young, Simeon, and even some of the schools like Loyola and St. Ignatius. You know, that's a big offer, and it's definitely a growing program. They got a new stadium, and, you know, their teams and their athletic program is definitely growing, so that's a big offer.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, I think part of that is because of how great shot creators they are. You know, I mean, look at what they can do. They're pure athletes. You know, while you look at them and you see basketball player, I mean, what we've seen so far this season is they can knock down the three at a high rate. They can throw down in transition when they need to. I mean, we saw them out here doing windmills and reverses before the game. You know, these are some unbelievable athletes. So I think these are going to be the guys to watch out for today. You know, obviously you've got seniors Pemberton and Landon who are going to play well, but the Kwasinskis coming in as juniors, they're going to be the difference makers. You know, they've been playing here. They played in this environment last year. They started as sophomores, and I mean, they're the guys. They're the next guys up. They will play Division I basketball somewhere. So I wouldn't be shocked if one of them went off.
Yeah, definitely. And this is going to be a different game than we've seen, you know, past years of the Jesuit Cup. Usually we're seeing a back-and-forth three-point battle. This year, you know, at least what Loyola's game plan is going to be, they have a slower pace to the game and, you know, dribbling inside, pass it to Kwasinski twins, and feed it inside so they can, you know, get easy baskets inside. You know, usually we're seeing Connor Barrett, you know, in past years, Kevin Cunningham, Ramar Evans shooting, you know, long-range threes. We're not really going to see that tonight. We're going to see more of a slower-paced
ground and pound game, you know, I almost want to call it. You know,
That's
less small ball, more feed it inside, more find the open guy. And I think Loyola's going to take their time. You know, their pace has been slower recently. So I want to say that Loyola's going to try and slow it down, because while they can put the ball in the basket in transition, their bread and butter is just being able to set up open shots, find the guy in the corner who can shoot, or feed it inside. And, you know, we don't know a lot about this Ignatius team, but what we do know is, again, the second they step on this court, it's a different team.
Definitely, you know, the atmosphere right now is, you know, insane. And, you know, if that doesn't fire you up, I don't know what does.
Absolutely. I mean, these are not basketball schools. You know, Loyola coming off a state championship. Ignatius, I mean, they're a water polo powerhouse, to be fair. You know, they're always competing well in that. And, a fantastic school, obviously. Two of the premier Jesuit schools in the country. And, I mean, you know, these young men are going to go at it today, and it's going to be a good one. I'm honestly really, really excited for how this is going to go. So we're about to meet our starting lineups for both the Loyola Ramblers and the St. Ignatius Wolfpack.
And with a minute left, I'm going to hand the mic over to Jamila, a veteran here on the Ramblers stream, to take away the first quarter. I'll be back in the second. Enjoy the first quarter.
And we're about 45 seconds away from tip-off in this. This is, I mean, so, you know, Jamila, we've been watching teams warm up. Again, this is amazing. And I think, you know, the student section for Ignatius is filling up. Clearly, the theme is gold. I mean, they're showing up all yellow, all gold. They're shining. I mean, I bet, you know, if you shine some light on them, you can see them for miles. And then this Loyola team, you know, it looks like country's the theme, or maybe it's old time. You know, we see a lot of guys in camo and some military uniforms and some cowboy hats up there in the crowd. So I'm not sure how many people got the memo, but I do know that it's packed. I mean, there's got to be 300 kids up there. This is amazing. You know, the sophomore team joined the stands, and we're about to get ready for the national anthem here. We've got just about 1 second, so we'll rejoin you very soon.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the new Welsh Ryan Arena, home of Chicago's Big Ten team, the Northwestern Wildcats, for tonight's annual Jesuit Cup matchup, featuring the visiting team from Chicago, Illinois, the Wolfpack of St. Ignatius College Prep. And tonight's home team on the scoreboard from Wilmette, the Ramblers of Loyola Academy. Fans, at this time, we ask that you please stand and bow your heads as we pray St. Ignatius Loyola's prayer of generosity. Lord, teach us to be generous. Teach us to serve you as you deserve, to give and not to count the cost, to fight and not to heed the wounds, to toil and not to seek for rest, to labor and not to ask for any reward, save that of knowing that we are doing your will. Amen. St. Ignatius of Loyola, please remain standing and face the flag as we honor our country with the singing of our national anthem. Tonight, a special presentation. Please welcome Loyola Academy senior Alex Petrosi.
Oh, say, can you see by great national anthem sung there by Julia Petrozzi.
Alex Petrozzi, although Julie is her sister, of course. We love them both here at Loyola. And we're about to meet the starting lineups for the visitors, St. Ignatius.
Let's meet the starters for the visiting team.
Now you're going to see Parker Higginbottom, the sophomore, starting here. A great player as a sophomore. I mean, look for him to have a future playing college basketball. He is unbelievably good. So we're going to look for him to be a major impact player for this team. I mean, he played last year as a freshman, so. And Christian Davis, number 3, the 6'2" senior guard. And Daniel Flory, number 10, will also be getting the start for this Wolfpack team. Now, Christian Davis, a fantastic player. I mean, I can't stress enough how good he is. I mean, you know, you look at him and Higginbottom, they're an unbelievable duo at guard. So, I mean, this is going to be a great matchup, honestly. I'm unbelievably excited for how this is going to go. And obviously, while we want a Loyola dub, you know, we couldn't ask for a better atmosphere. And hopefully it's going to shape up to be an unbelievable game. And let's meet the Ramblers.
We have number 2,
Jordan Kwasinski will be getting the start. And his brother Bennett as well. The Kwasinski twins, as I mentioned pregame, are 2 major impact players, to watch for tonight.
Number 1, Maddie Enghauser.
Enghauser.
The 6'2" senior from Elaine Lock Charter Academy. Number 23, Nico.
Number 23,
And Nico Landon will be getting the start.
The 6'1" senior from St. James School.
And of course, captain and all-around fantastic player, Quinn Pemberton. So, I mean, when you look at the lineups here, they're very evenly matched teams. You know, they're both going to come out and look to set the tone early. And, I mean, honestly, you know, look for them to try and limit turnovers. I think that's been a big issue for this Loyola team, you know, so far this season. I think when you look at it, you know, they've been a little bit giddy with the ball since they lost the leadership of Connor Barrett. But I think, you know, they have experience. You know, they have big game experience. You know, Enghauser and the Kwasinski twins have both played in these games before. Landon, obviously, as a senior, along with Pemberton, they've played in this big atmosphere. While, you know, you're going to see Higginbottom as a sophomore who hasn't played much like this. You know, get really excited for this game because, folks, this is going to be a fantastic game. And as we get started with the tip, it's going to be the 6'8" Kwasinski who is able to win it, gets it to Landon. And Loyola will start. Loyola wearing my favorite of their uniforms, the checkered gold uniforms with maroon lettering. And they're starting off like I thought. You know, they're slowing it down, trying to find a good rhythm, trying to get into the game, trying to ease themselves into the game. You know, no giddiness here. Now you're going to see some crowd noise from this Loyola team. I'm sorry, from this Ignatius student section, but don't expect that to phase Loyola much. You know, they've played in these games before. They know what to expect, and I don't expect this to make much of a difference at all. As they get it inside to Kwasinski, and they're swinging it around well. Pemberton's open for 3. Instead, Landon with a nice step through. Rejected.
22, Dinton.
Now pushing the pace, and there's a charge. What a play! That'll be Rambler basketball. As a fantastic play by this Loyola team. I mean, you know, I guess he's getting the charge chain right there. You know, you love to see it. I mean, that's something that Livatino stresses is charges. You know, it's a free foul against the other team. It's a free possession, you know. So for them to be able to draw the charge early and come out and set the tone is awesome. And that's exactly what Livatino wanted. Because, again, this is an experienced team, you know. They're not phased at all. So, I mean, don't expect them to come out and play any differently because this is just a normal game for them, you know. They're just playing on a purple court instead of a red one, if you will. So, and Kwasinski is able to put up the first points.
Benny Kwasinski. It's the first field goal for Loyola and for the game.
And as you just mentioned, he kicks off the scoring for today's game with a nice layup inside. Higginbottom, the sophomore, bringing the ball up the court, number 1. And a nice pass and nice cuss there, but it's rejected by Kwasinski. Now pushing the pace, you've got Pemberton with the ball. Pemberton with a step through, knocks it down and 1. What a play by Pemberton. I mean, if you don't love the way Quinn Pemberton plays with the amount of fire and the amount of energy that he plays with, I mean, I don't know how you can like this Loyola basketball team. I mean, he's an amazing player. I mean, he's able to score at all. He's great at all facets of this game. He can knock down the three ball. He can drive, and he knocks down his free throws. And he knocks that one down, and he puts the Ramblers up 5-0 early. This is all Livatino could have hoped for and more with an early shutout. And I mean, you can see Pemberton already into it. He's fired up on defense, and this is a staunch Loyola defense. So I mean, there's a great steal just to and no good on the layup. And that's going to be Loyola basketball off the missed layup by Kwasinski. A great play there by him to poke it away. That's another turnover already by Ignatius. That's their second. They've also been rejected once, so one block for each team, along with 2 turnovers for the Wolfpack. Landon now running the offense, and he's able to kick it to Quinn up top. Now Pemberton dribbling to his left. Pemberton waiting up top. And he gets it inside to Kwasinski, who's guarded by a much smaller player. He's able to poke it away for Loyola's first turnover of the night. That was Luke Collins, a 6'1 guard, guarding someone 7 inches taller than him, as Landon swats the ball out of bounds. It'll be Ignatius ball into the basket. 5 minutes, 45 seconds remaining in this first quarter.
Number 3 of the shot.
And a quick shot there. No good by Christian Davis.
Rebound.
Kwasinski comes down with the board. Pemberton able to get a mismatch against Higginbottom. Pulls up. He's short. He airballs. He's going to hear that from the crowd. And he's already hearing it as Higginbottom taking the ball up. He kicks it to Davis quickly. Davis and Higginbottom are interchangeable as people taking the ball up as the guards. And Landon now bringing the ball up, trying to push the pace. This is a fast-paced game. Pretty low scoring thus far, but overall a good showing from both teams. And I mean, this Ignatius bench is going to chant airball every time Quinn touches the ball from now on. As Landon wants the ball, he's calling for it. And wide open in the corner is Pemberton. He's going to hear the airball chants, although they're already starting to quiet down. And Kwasinski knocks down a nice turnaround jump shot.
Timeout called by Ignatius with under 5 minutes left in the first quarter, with Loyola leading 7-0.
The Kwasinskis, I mean, not even one in particular, they've come out really fast to start this game. I mean, they've been able to, you know, put an exclamation point on this Loyola defense. As I mean, they were able to poke the ball away and reject some shots on one side, but then you see him driving and knocking down fadeaway shots like that. I mean, to have a big man that can create space and knock down fadeaway jumpers like that is very rare, and Coach Livatino knows that he's lucky to have that. I mean, again, I mentioned this last time, but I've been to a couple of their practices and watched from the balcony, and I mean, you know, you're going to see a lot of compliments going Jordan and Bennett Kwasinski's way from Livatino, which, I mean, as you know, Jamila, a compliment from Coach Livatino is earned.
Yes. He's a very tough coach and always on his players.
He is, but his players love him because, I mean, you know, while he's a tough coach, it's tough love, you know, I mean, and I think that's what makes him such a good coach. And Maddie Mangan comes in, and it looks like Jordan Kwasinski came out. Yeah, Jordan Kwasinski comes out, Mangan comes in. Mangan's a great player for this Loyola team. He's the best defender on this team by far, and he will lock down any player. I mean, you put him on, for example, last game he guarded Hagan on Brother Rice, who's committed to Loyola University, and locked him up. He scored, I think, 2 points off of free throws, nothing from the field.
Number 10 of the contested shot.
And no good, and guess who? It's Kwasinski come down with the board. Landon looking to push the point. Ooh, he missed the behind the back move. Get the defender shuffling. What a play there. Landon with some sneaky ball handling skills there. He finds Mangan in the corner. Mangan likes to have the ball in the little three-point stance where he holds it by his side so he can pass, shoot, or dribble. He's a very smart player. He doesn't score a lot, but he's a very valued member of this team. He's also a senior, I believe, by the way. Matt Mangan. He's actually a junior. So he was the star tight end on the Loyola football team and is the center and all-around defensive stud for the basketball team. As the ball slips through Kwasinski's hands, but he's able to get it back in and get it to Landon. Landon has got a little space, finds Pemberton. Pemberton with a pump fake. He's got Higginbottom off balance. He pulls up, finds Kwasinski to Enghauser. Enghauser drives left, and Loyola unable to get anything.
Gets it to Pemberton.
Yeah, they're not able to get much. They're really swinging the ball around as Landon finds Enghauser. Now, I think it's tough for Loyola here because, I mean, they're getting the inside shut down, but at the same time, they're not able to find any perimeter shots because, I mean, out of these guys, you know, Landon and Pemberton don't shoot much, and Mangan doesn't either. So I think it's been difficult.
Gets the layup.
And speaking of Landon, Landon's able to knock down the tough righty layup there on a great move. That took a while to get the points, but was finally able to find an opening in the defense.
Ignatius is still not been able to get a field goal this quarter with less than 3 minutes left.
Yeah, not only do they don't have a field goal, they don't have a point. And that won't change as Higginbottom no good, and Landon comes down with the board. Landon guarded by the smaller Higginbottom, and Landon wide open for three. Pemberton, no good.
Ignatius gets the rebound.
And Landon's unable to get the board. That'll be Ignatius' ball. Again, so far Loyola's winning not only the battle of the glass, but they're also winning the turnover battle. And Livatino is livid, if you will, as he's not happy with something from this Loyola team. We're not sure what. And there's the first field goal for the Wolfpack.
Dingans gets the first shot for Ignatius.
And as you said, Dingans knocks down the shot. Open for three.
And hits it, the first three for the Ramblers. And for the game.
That's a great way to start it out there. A nice shot there. Enghauser is sneaky from three, as we've got two guys set to check in. One we haven't seen much of this year. I think that's
Palmer?
Yeah, Will Palmer, who's going to check in. And then also you're going to see Will Bodkin. And yeah, that's a foul. That's a tough foul. Livatino's very unhappy as it looks like that's going to send, I'm not sure who got fouled. I'm pretty sure it was Christian Davis. Yeah, yes. Christian Davis is going to go to the line to shoot three, as, you know, Pemberton just didn't go straight up there. And you hear the "you can't do that" chants from the Ignatius crowd, and, well, I mean, they're right. You know, you can't do that. So yeah. Davis is going to go to the line and shoot three. And he knocks down the first. That brings it to single digits, as Loyola now leads 12-3. Davis to shoot his second. It is good. Again, you know, this is a senior right here. Davis has played in his fair share of Jesuit Cups. He understands what it takes to be successful, and I don't expect him to be fazed at all by this crowd. You know, I think Loyola's got a giant student section going right now, but I honestly, you know, I wouldn't be shocked if he had a great game today, because he's played in a lot of these, and he understands what it takes to succeed. And, I mean, he's a senior leader, and he misses that free throw, but again, like, he's a senior leader and a good player. As Palmer is taking the ball up, will to will, as Bodkin kicks it to Palmer. Palmer with a little miscommunication there with Landon, but no turnover, so no harm done.
Red subbed in for Ignatius.
And Loyola's slowing the pace down a little bit. This is good to see. I mean, you know, I think while it's more fun to see Loyola go fast pace, you know, don't you think it's a little more practical for them to slow it down and find their shot?
Definitely, because for some of their games this season, they've been kind of sloppy with the ball, and I think they've learned from that and know they have to be more patient. Absolutely,
and I think that's contributed to their 3-game losing skid that they're on right now. But, I mean, both teams are, you know, having a bad little 3-game stretch here, and I think, you know, for the winner, this is going to be a big win. You know, it's a conference win, so it counts for more. Plus, it's a rivalry. You know, there's nothing better than walking out of this building tonight and knowing that, you know, you beat your biggest rival. And Landon's, I mean, he's really contributing to that mindset. I mean, he's out here knocking down shot after shot. That's his second layup, or I think that's his third, actually, and wide open for three and no good. That was Derek Dinkins, yes, who missed the three.
Loyola has done a great job of not fouling too much this quarter, because this season we've been seeing them foul a lot.
That's a good point, actually. They've had a lot of fouls this far this year, and they only have one so far this quarter. So I think that's a really good point, just in terms of their success this year has come when they've stayed off, like, out of foul trouble. So, I mean, both teams are, you know, to Ignatius' credit, they only have two, and Loyola's going to hold for the last shot. So, you know, as the clock winds down in the first quarter, Jamila, what does Loyola need to change in order to, what does Loyola need to change in order to be more successful on offense? Because obviously, you know, a 10-point lead is nothing to scoff at, but it could be and should be higher.
I think they should keep making their layups. And as Nico Landon gets a hard contested shot here to end the first quarter.
Or Nico could just, take over and continue to hit fadeaway shots all game. You know, that works too. But that's a good point. You know, go inside and get some success inside, because that's where their points have come from. Thank you, Jamila, for bringing us the first quarter. She's going to be back to bring you guys the third quarter. And Ed Neiman, key part of the broadcast team, is going to come in and help me bring you guys the second quarter here. So, you know, after a fantastic first quarter of play from Loyola in which they have a 12-point lead, I'm excited for this second quarter. And welcome, Edward. So, you know, from your seat to my right, what have you seen from the Ramblers that you love?
You know, I think they're being really patient with the ball. I think they're having some great passes, you know, especially towards the end of the first quarter. You know, they start to slow things down and really control the pace of this game. And they haven't let St. Ignatius an inch right now. You know, they're playing great defense, not letting them do what they want to do. And, you know, that's been the story of the game so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, in terms of not letting Ignatius get in the flow offensive-wise, you know, I think that's a good point. You know, they're able to kind of make Ignatius play with their pace. I think they're taking over the pace of the game, and that's the difference between the two teams. You know, Loyola's controlling the pace. I mean, they're slowing the ball down on offense, and on defense, you know, they're really forcing Ignatius to bide their time and make plays on their own because, I mean, Loyola's not giving up an inch, like you said. You know, they're not going to give them any time to score. So, as Ignatius will start with the ball. And immediately it'll be thrown off a Rambler player, and Ignatius will get the ball back.
Yeah, good call there. You can see that the ball just tipped off Quinn Pemberton's foot there to go out of bounds.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, it did definitely go off his foot. So, you know, Ignatius subbed in Owens, who I remember last year went off and drilled a few threes. I believe that was him. So
yes, yeah.
He's a good three-point shooter, so look for him to get open. He didn't play in the first quarter, but look for them to try and get him open looks. And there's one here. Gives a little hesitation move and nearly turns it over. And a foul called on Pemberton. Not too happy with that. And neither is Coach Livatino. He's going to have a word with the referees.
Yeah, you know, the players right now in this game are just going to try to be really aggressive out there. You know, they're going to play for every loose ball, and you know that's really what differentiates the teams who wins and who loses in this game. You know, just by who's more aggressive and who wants it more here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, you know, when it comes down to it, whichever team's able to control the pace of the game is going to win this game. And speaking of controlling the pace, a quick three there from Christian Davis as he gets his first field goal to go.
Yeah, that's their first three-point field goal there, and that really gets the St. Ignatius student section on their feet here.
Yeah, you hear him chanting. I mean, you know, Eddie, I know you're a freshman, but I know you've been coming to these games for years. You know, we all know the name Christian Davis. That's nothing new to us. We've been hearing about this kid forever. I mean, he can flat out put the ball in the basket. So, again, like I said earlier, don't be shocked if he ends up with, you know, a fair amount of points tonight.
That's right.
As Loyola, again, trying to slow the pace down a little bit. A nice move put on by Bennett Kwasinski.
Ignatius, they're forcing the Ramblers to play a higher pace right now. You know, Kwasinski's are trying to get inside in the paint, but St. Ignatius knows better. They're shutting down the inside and not letting them post up and get points inside. So good job, St. Ignatius. They figured out that, I'm sure, at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, and that's part of that is just great coaching. You know, Coach Monroe, Coach Monroe is well known around the Catholic League for being a good coach, and him and Livatino have been going against each other for years. So I mean, don't expect anything differently from a coaching battle here. You know, when you look at the pace, when you look at the shots the players are putting up, it all goes back to coaches. And I think, you know, these are two fantastic coaches, and they're both going to play a big role in how this game goes. As Loyola turns it over, Davis going up the floor. And a tough foul there as that's AJ Red who's going to go to the line. Oh my goodness, he's a freshman. He's the only freshman, or excuse me, he's one of two freshmen listed to play in this game. The other one is Giles, who we saw in the sophomore game. He won't play most likely. So, I mean, the only freshman you're going to see is this AJ Red kid, and he's good on the first free throw, so unfazed by the crowd noise.
Yeah, I know, and you know what? This game's going to be, you know, surely decided by momentum because, you know, if there's a big momentum swing, your students, you know, they got your back. You know, they're on their feet cheering, and that really, you know, can disrupt the other team's offense and, you know, causes miscommunication on the court because it's so loud.
Yeah, there's no question in my mind that, I mean, you know, that's 100% correct. I couldn't agree with you more, Eddie. As in come the three-point shooters for this Loyola team, you know, Ryan Evans and Pujals are both perimeter threats, and if Loyola's able to get some open looks for them, I mean, they're gonna, when they get hot, they get hot. You know, Pujals a couple games ago was able to knock down like 4 threes. And Evans is, and there's an and 1-3. Enghauser knocks down the 3 and is fouled. He's going to go to the line for a 4th. And called for the foul is Giles, so he is in the game, I guess, as a freshman. So we're going to see both freshmen from Ignatius, and able to knock down an unbelievable 3 there is Enghauser. We've seen some great plays so far today, Eddie.
Yeah, man, everyone's just out there being aggressive and really, just trying to get every point they can, because it's going to matter when we come down the stretch here, as it does usually every year in the 4th quarter.
Absolutely. And I mean, Livatino's already down on the ground, and there's a freshman lining up the 3, air balls. And there's Loyola's crowd getting into it a little bit as Evans at point calling the play. Pujal's open for 3. Doesn't look like he's going to shoot it. Oh, puts a nice move on and cuts. Finds Kwasinski. That's Bennett, I believe. Yeah, Bennett Kwasinski knocks down the little floater. And again, trying to push the pace here is Ignatius. I think they want to speed the game up a little bit.
Definitely, and the pace is a big part of this game, especially for Loyola. If Loyola gets off tempo, they can really, not put up the points they want and take some rush shots. So Ramblers going to need to regain the pace of this game and slow it down.
So we see 2 freshmen in right now, AJ Red and Giles. How do you think those 2 players are going to have to, handle this crowd noise? Because it's going to be difficult as Giles comes down with the board and nearly turns it over. So how do you think, they're going to be integrated into the offense?
I think they're going to have to adapt the leadership role here, as crazy as that sounds. All the other players have been here before, but, they're new to this. But, you just have to adapt.
Absolutely. And here comes Kwasinski, and he's unable to get the finish. And he will go to the line and shoot a pair. Now, that's a good point. I think they've been prepared for this. The coach isn't just throwing him off the sophomore team into the fire, if you will. He's not just putting him into this varsity atmosphere and forcing them to... Oh, intentional foul. And there's some talking going on now. Number 10, Daniel Flory, sent Kwasinski to the line, and he's asking the ref what he's supposed to do. I mean, he doesn't understand how that's an intentional foul.
That call could have went either way. You know what? He was just trailing the play, and he happened to foul him after the shot was taken. So, and you know what? Going back to that question, how are the freshmen supposed to adapt to this? If you're, even thinking about going to St. Ignatius or Loyola, you know what the Jesuit Cup is. It's just part of the culture here, and it's, such a great game, and, it's really a friendly rivalry. There's so much sportsmanship in this game, and it's really cool to see between these 2 teams.
It's really a brotherhood, I mean, in terms of the whole Jesuit education aspect. We're going through similar schooling that they are, and I think for a lot of us at Loyola, it comes down to these 2 schools. I mean, honestly, Ignatius... It was Ignatius or Loyola for me, and I obviously happened to choose Loyola, but, they're both great schools. So this is really a respect rivalry more than anything. I mean, the best I can compare it to is Notre Dame, Michigan.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great comparison. There's there's some trash talking throughout the game, but in the end, there's some sportsmanship being shown, and they're all part of the Jesuit tradition. So that's really cool, to have a similar school to ours, teaching and learning the same things.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of us who were forced to choose between, one of the 2 schools, I mean, I can recall coming to these games for years, coming to the Jesuit Cup games. It's always been a big deal. It's always been, the game for both teams. I mean, when you look at the schedule, if you ask players which one they're most excited to play against, some Loyola players are going to dance around the idea of Brother Rice, but when it comes down to it, I guarantee you, Edward, that every single player on either bench would pick Loyola and Ignatius. I mean, the Jesuit Cup is the game.
No doubt. And, it's built up for these teams. As you said, St. Ignatius, they have a whole spirit week leading up to this game. And, everyone knows what the Jesuit Cup is.
And there's some fire there as Pujols is going at it with an Ignatius player. And there's a good show of sportsmanship as they help each other up. And Higginbottom comes back in. There's some booing from the crowd. And I believe that's at the ref. They're not happy with him. It'll be Loyola ball. I think that's what they're unhappy with. And Evans will be running the point still as Pemberton stays out of the game. I think I'm not actually seeing him on the... Oh, I do see him on the bench. I don't think Livatino's too happy with him. And a nice no-look pass by Pujols there.
Loyola's having trouble, creating shots without the Kwasinskis inside. Bodkin obviously is down low trying to post up. But, St. Ignatius, they're prepared for this game. They know what Loyola wants to do. When you're missing Connor Barrett, you look to the big men. You look to try to feed it inside in the paint and try to get easy buckets there, but they're really doing a great job of shutting Loyola down and forcing them to pass the ball around the perimeter.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. And I think, so they called a foul there on St. Ignatius, and it'll be Loyola ball. Ignatius is now 1 foul away from putting Loyola in the bonus. So that's going to be something to watch out for.
Yeah, and Loyola has so many great shooters on the team. You know, when you put them to the line, you're almost giving them free points. I mean,
yeah, it's
just such a, it's a great asset that Loyola has. You know, Coach Levatino works on it in practice week in and week out. So you have to give credit to Coach Levatino for that.
Yeah, there's always a section of practice, I mean, dedicated towards free throws, as no good on the threes. Pujal's really a 3-point specialist.
Yeah, I like that shot, though. Really aggressive and trying to come right out here and put the Ramblers up by a lot.
Yeah, as the Ramblers actually lead by 15 right now, so this is not a super close game, although it's actually been a fun one, you know. I mean, had I not looked at the scoreboard, I would have thought it's been a lot closer than it is. Because, I mean, while the score's a big difference, you know, it's been a tightly contested game. And it will be till the end, no matter what the score is. Now, interesting fact for you guys, and Edward, I'm not sure you know this, but you know, as we recall, Pujol has played quarterback at Loyola on the football team. His brother did.
They've sent, a couple of Pujols through the Loyola school system here, and it's great to see the tradition just keeps growing and growing throughout their family. And that's, what Loyola really builds on, the brotherhood between, friends, but also, family members.
Yeah, and I think, the point I was going to make there was Pujols, he just signed to play in the AAF, which is a new league, almost a minor league for the NFL, as he ended up to go on and play at Holy Cross, where he starred and then got an NFL contract, was unable to capitalize, sadly, and make a roster, but he's signed to play in the AAF, and you can watch him tomorrow. I'm not entirely sure which team he's on. I'll look that up at halftime for you guys, but offensive foul, I'm not entirely sure where that came from. But the Kwasinskis are taking it well. I don't know what to say about that call. But, Pujols catching him tomorrow, playing in the AAF. I believe it's going to be broadcasted on CBS. And it's always great to see Loyola alums in the pros.
Yeah, that's a big deal, man. Congratulations to Pujols and the rest of his family. That is fantastic achievement.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
And, I do know that Pujols did break some records up at Holy Cross in passing yard. I think it was passing yards or passing percentage is one of the two. But
yeah, I think, honestly, it might have been both. He had him and Jimmy Murray had an unbelievable career at both Loyola and Holy Cross. And I think, Murray especially is a really good indication of what can happen if you work hard. I mean, he started off freshman B as an O-lineman his freshman year and proceeded to now sign a contract with the Kansas City Chiefs. So congratulations to him. And, back to basketball, Edward, I think this has been a really fiery past couple of minutes. Both teams are at 6 fouls. I mean, ended the first quarter with a combined 3. Now we're up to 12. So, I mean, the bitter rivalry is starting to come into play here. Obviously there's still a lot of respect there, but while they're on the court, there's no love lost between these two teams.
Yeah, definitely. The scoreboard may not show, but this has been a physical and really closely contested game by both teams. I mean, St. Ignatius playing some great defense, playing some physical defense, and really holding Loyola to the outside shot. But coincidentally, Kwasinski gets a nice inside shot there. Timeout is taken.
And that puts the Ramblers up 17. Again, thank you to Northwestern for hosting at the new Welsh Ryan Arena. This is an awesome opportunity for both the teams and us to fight for the Jesuit Cup. I'm not sure if the Cardinal is in attendance today, but ordinarily the Bishop of Chicago, who was formerly Father Supich, who's now the Cardinal, I believe, is in attendance. So we'll be on the lookout for him. He may be here. And we are going to do our best to get some thoughts from each coach after halftime. So, the second half is going to be a great one. And Loyola right now leads by 17, 25-8. Our scoreboard was off by 1 point for a second there, but it's corrected now. So, if you're Ignatius, what are you telling your team in the huddle right there that they need to do in order to close out this half successfully?
I would say, just keep your composure right now. The score is, the margin is very big. But if you gain some momentum here before half, go into halftime, set up a game plan, you're back into this game. And, be careful with the ball. Don't play sloppy and don't cause any turnovers. So let Loyola get up by even more and let them get a momentum swing before half. Right now, you just want to, get a momentum swing and send it into half.
Absolutely, and I think, Higginbottom hasn't done much in terms of scoring, so look for them to try and get him the ball. Also, Davis has been relatively quiet, so...
Yeah, and it's really uncharacteristic for the St. Ignatius team. This is really what got him.
Speaking of Davis, knocks down the pull-up, but continue.
Yeah, and that's, these two players, Higginbottom, they've really led this team to, the 11 wins that they've got. They've been important centerpieces to this team. And, Loyola's doing a great job of just shutting them down and taking them almost completely out of this game right now, even though Higginbottom is getting lots of minutes so far.
And Evans called for a walk, and very happy with that call is Coach Monroe. And Ignatius is going to get another chance to knock down a shot. Now, they trail by 15, but, I mean, a couple buckets at the end of the half, it's quickly a single-digit game. So, they're by no means out of this. I mean, this is going to be, honestly, hopefully a close game. But, again, tightly contested. I mean, if you were to take the scoreboard away, I would tell you that this is a closer game than it is, because it's been a good one from both teams. It's just, some of those days the shots aren't falling, and I think it's been one of those so far for Ignatius. So look for them to go into halftime and make some adjustments.
Yeah, I think they're going to try to go for a 2-for-1 here, get a shot off, and force Loyola to get a shot, and then try to get the last shot of the second half. That seems really extensive, but...
Yeah, no, you're right. I agree with you. I think they're definitely going to try and put one up quickly here and then get a stop and then put another one up. I mean, they need to score, and they need to score now because, they need to go into halftime with the momentum, and that's the goal here. And Higginbottom with a nice pump fake and unable to knock down the basket. Kwasinski comes down with it. Honestly, I think Loyola's going to hold. Oh, they are. They are. And the bench is letting everyone know they're holding for the last shot. I wouldn't be shocked, actually, if Ignatius fouled here. I almost wonder if Mangan gets the ball. Do you foul if you're Ignatius? I think that might be the move.
You might, because that gives your chance, sending Mangan to the line, I believe. Huh?
Yeah, no, because that would put him in a 1-and-1, and he's not, I mean, he's obviously a fine free throw shooter. He's just not, I mean, he's probably the worst on the floor just right now for Loyola. You saw him miss one at the end of the Brother Rice game as he just kind of threw it off the backboard, but, I mean, I would have fouled if I were them, honestly. And a nice play. They could still score here, though. It's not. They're not out of it yet.
They have to go.
2 seconds left. One. Tried to draw the foul, and not even close. He just jumped straight into him. So we're going to be right back, hopefully with some great coverage in the second half. I'm going to be hopping off the mic after the halftime show, but we'll be right back.
Fans, there's some halftime entertainment here at the new Welsh Rhine Arena. First, please welcome to center court the St. Ignatius College Prep cheer team. cheer team, who this past weekend appeared downstate for the first time since 2011. Great job, Loyola Academy cheerleading. And last but certainly not least, please welcome to center court the Loyola Academy Ramblerettes. The Ramblerettes have just completed their competition season with great success. They finished 6th at the IHSA State Dance Finals and came in 11th at the National Dance Team Championship this past weekend at Walt Disney World. Congratulations, Ramblerettes. To all our halftime performers during today's varsity contest as part of the annual Jesuit Cup. A special shout out to the St. Ignatius College Prep Cheer, Loyola Academy Cheer, and the Loyola Academy Ramblers.
Welcome back as we have about 3 minutes remaining at halftime. I'm here with Father McGrath, president here at Loyola Academy, and Edward and I are going to ask you just a couple questions, if that's all right.
That'd be great.
All right, Edward, do you want to kick it off?
Alrighty, welcome, Father McGrath. We're glad to have you here on the Rambler stream. So what do you think makes this game so special, you know, not only to Loyola, but, you know, to the Jesuit tradition, you know, here at Loyola and St. Ignatius?
Well, this is this is one of those great Jesuit moments. You see it in college basketball every once in a while when our great teams play against each other, but this is a celebration of what's great about the Jesuits in Chicago and the Jesuits around the world. We share a common history and a common vision, and we have a lot of families that cross the two schools, and so anytime we're together, I think it's pretty special, and it's just a good spirited, fun time for us to be together.
Absolutely. I mean, this game definitely exemplifies, a lot of Jesuit values, including, brotherhood and togetherness, and I think it's great that we are able to get together every year to play. So, I know you've been here for quite a few of these, and I'd just like to know what your favorite Jesuit Cup memory is.
Well, I think back, it must be 6 years ago, and we were at home. We were playing at Loyola, and it was just one of those extraordinary games going down to the last moment. And you could feel the whole gym sort of rocking, the whole place on both sides, and it was just a absolutely joyous moment. And of course, we won, which made it what it should have been.
That always helps. I can't lie. So, Edward and I would just like to know, as a basketball savant that you are, what have you seen from the Ramblers that you've liked?
Well, here's the thing. I am no basketball savant, and to be in the presence of you and Edward says I'm the amateur here when it comes to analysis of basketball. But if nothing else, this is a classic Tom Livatino team. And the way this team plays, you got to love it. It's really gritty. It's very disciplined. The way they move the ball and control the ball, it's pretty exciting. And this is a great season for these guys. I think they're starting to click in some pretty special ways. It's been fun to watch Quinn Pemberton really emerge as the player that he is now, and just watching any Tom Livatino team, and more importantly, watching Coach Livatino on the sidelines makes it pretty
always fun. I love when he gets down in the classic squat. Well, we're about 40 seconds away from the tip-off of the second half, but we really appreciate you coming on, Father McGrath, and you're always welcome on Ramblers Streaming.
Hey, guys, thanks for all you do for Loyola. You make us proud every broadcast. Keep up the great work.
Really
go
appreciate
Ramblers.
it. Yeah, go Ramblers.
Here you go, guys. I'm going to get food.
All right, fans, welcome back. We're about to get play started here in the third quarter of just a magnificent game here at Welsh Shrine Arena, just remodeled over the offseason, and it's been a great one thus far. Don't you think, Jamila?
Yes, definitely. It was a strong first half for both teams.
Yeah, definitely. And, we saw Loyola come out, and, they really took control of the game from the first quarter. And, we saw them come out and really start feeding the ball inside to, Bennett and Jordan Kwasinski. Two of their weapons they've been using, especially when Connor Baird has been out of the game. They've been more feeding the ball inside and trying to let them take some, shots inside the paint and lay the ball in. So Pemberton's going to inbound to Landon. Landon back to Pemberton, and we're going to get things started here. And, another trend we've seen, throughout the game is Loyola's, really been controlling the pace, keeping a slow tempo and, a methodical, ball movement, and really been waiting for their open shots and not rushing really any shots.
Yes, Loyola has not been getting that many turnovers. Oh, well, we get that turnover right here.
Yeah, that was really coincidental as you said that, but yeah, you're right. Loyola's really been limiting those turnovers, and that's why they have a 17-point lead. I mean, that's just how that one is. Here, take this one. Take this one.
Ignatius almost loses the ball there, but number 10 gets it back.
Yeah, that's Flory there doing some crossover moves as Higginbottom almost loses the ball. That would have been a costly turnover for this Wolfpack team. Higginbottom passes it back in the corner. Ignatius dribbling around. Nico Landon closely guarding. Back out. Nice pass there around Anghauser. So, as this game progresses on, Jamila, what do you think St. Ignatius is going to have to do to, chip away at this Ramblers lead and get back into the game?
Well, here, Ignatius just hit a three, which we haven't seen that much lately. And they haven't gotten that many field goals tonight, so they have to keep shooting. And they've been a little sloppy with the ball, so they have to make sure to be patient with the ball.
Yeah, definitely. And, you think that shot may ignite this team to start building a comeback and mounting.
Landon gets the shot. And there's a timeout called.
And that's from Coach Monroe there. And I think he's going to try to keep this Ignatius team in the tempo that they're in right now. After they hit that 3, he wants to keep the momentum up. He wants to keep the crowd and the momentum flow in their favor. So good time out there. You know, definitely going to go over some strategy and try to get his team, you know, even closer to this Rambler lead. But you know what? This game, you know, can go any way. Even though the scoreboard is quite, you know, there's a huge margin. You know, this game always tends to come down to the 4th quarter, and I don't know why. You know, this rivalry matchup, you know, past couple of years have came down to like the last shots in the 4th quarter, and that's really been cool to watch and really exciting. So that was a 30-second timeout that was taken by Ignatius. And, you know, both student sections have been really lively tonight.
Yes, I'm surprised. I didn't think the Ignatius section would be this crowded, especially because they're coming from the city. They actually have quite a bunch of kids right here.
Yeah, and they all kind of showed up in the last couple of minutes before tip, and that's, you know, better late than never, right?
Definitely.
They've really been making an impact on this game. You can definitely tell. You know, after Ignatius hit that 3, the crowd kind of went berserk there. As Justin Owens is taking the ball out for Ignatius, dishes out to Davis. Davis drives in.
Davis loses the ball but gets fouled, I believe, by...
I think that was Jordan Kwasinski, I believe. Can't quite be sure. But that's one thing you do not want to do as Loyola. You know, you do not want to get Ignatius into the bonus.
A block by number 15, Bennett Kwasinski, but Ignatius gets the ball back. Misses the 3. Some aggressiveness by both teams here.
Yeah, that would have been a pivotal moment if they would have hit that 3. I mean, they're starting to get some momentum here as they hit a 3 coming right out of halftime, and Coach Monroe's got to be happy about how his team's playing right now. Really being aggressive and really taking great shots. And
Hugh subs in for Loyola.
Yeah, and Loyola does not want to get St. Ignatius into the bonus here early because, you know, being down, it would be so key to be in the bonus because you can hit free throws and those, you know, add up and you could get back into this game. So Loyola's going to want to limit the foul game to keep themselves in this game.
Yeah, and they did a great job of not fouling too much in the first half. They have to keep doing that because I think they'll definitely get the win here if they don't foul too much.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see the cup across court on the scores table right in front of Mr. Michael Fellish. That's what we're playing here today for. Whoever wins it will take it home and put it in their trophy case. It's always a very coveted trophy.
Landon gets an and 1.
Count the basket.
Landon has been doing a great job on going to the of getting layups tonight.
Yeah, definitely. They're really being aggressive and really, you know, dribbling hard and being really strong in the paint, you know, being able to finish. And that's really been key. You know, we've seen in past games Loyola, you know, has been kind of weak and not been able to finish, and they've missed some, you know, layups that they should have made. But, you know, you see them stepping up tonight and doing exactly what they need to do, and the scoreboard shows that.
Offensive foul called on Anghauser. Ignatius gets the ball.
Yeah, costly mistake there by Anghauser. I mean, Loyola has, I believe, two fouls already in the first half. That's not what you want if you're Loyola. But they are playing great defense, and, you know, that's part of being aggressive, especially in a rivalry game.
And one by number 22, Derek Dingens.
Count the basket. Yeah, great answer there for the Ramblers, or excuse me, for the Wolfpack. Answering the Ramblers on their end one. Really showing the same level of aggression here.
Ryan Evans subs in for Loyola. Pemberton coming out.
Yeah, Ryan Evans, he's been really a great asset for this team this far this year. He's a senior, 5'10", from Northside Catholic Academy. He's been a great bench player for Quinn Pemberton, really bringing that same level of energy out onto the court. And Loyola's trying to climb up in the state rankings here as they sit at 66 right now.
Landon gets the rebound.
Ignatius, excuse me, yeah, you can go.
Good defense by Ignatius there.
Yeah, and that's what I was just going to say.
A
Ignatius,
trap.
good move. They're putting on full court pressure and trapping the Rambler players, and that's one thing Loyola does not like. They tend not to perform well when they have full court press on and they're trapping the ball.
Landon almost loses the ball there, but gets it back.
They get very sloppy, and that's one thing. And the Ignatius student section is not liking that one bit.
His first, team's fourth. Substitution number 21, Maddie Mangan checks.
Maddie Mangan subs in for Loyola with Hughes coming out.
Yeah, right now we're seeing one of Loyola's bigger sets out there with Mangan and Kwasinski, more an inside game as they have a big margin. Here in the second, as
Ignatius gets a steal.
yeah, that was picked off by Daniel Flory, number 10.
Landon tries to get the steal there, but gets a foul.
Yeah, that could have been a frustration foul there by Landon. Not happy about the turnover and tries to be a little too aggressive.
Bodkin comes in for Loyola with Bennett Kwasinski subbing out.
So both teams stand with 4 fouls here. Pretty evenly matched, actually, in the second half. Both and ones converted by both teams. And we've been trading turnovers here quite a bit lately.
Ignatius stays with the ball.
Ramblers playing some great defense on the inbound. Nice corral there by number 23, Nico Landon for the Ramblers. Anghauser with the ball. Alley-oop to William Bodkin there.
That was a great assist by Anghauser.
You saw the open man. Great cut there. Great drive in transition. And the Ramblers are running away with this game right now. It's 33-15 as a 3-point air ball is taken by the Wolfpack. That's number 10, Daniel Flory.
Ignatius gets a turnover. Loyola will have the ball.
And the game's really going in the Ramblers' favor right now. They're really kind of controlling it. And that causes, as you can see right now, Coach Monroe to take a full timeout.
Yeah, he's definitely not happy with the turnovers the Wolfpack has been getting this quarter.
No, and definitely. And, you know, the third quarter in every high school game is always a pivotal moment. You know, teams, you know, really win games in the third quarter because that momentum will carry over to the fourth quarter and inevitably lead them to the win. So the Ramblers right now are in that position, have a great lead with 4:02 to go in the third quarter as our scoreboard is wrong. It's not the first quarter, don't worry.
What do you think Coach Levatino's telling the Ramblers right now?
No, I think he's telling them to keep doing what they're doing. They're really being, you know, aware on the court. They have wonderful court vision right now. They're really reading the passes of Ignatius and causing the turnovers. So, you know, while Ignatius may be being a little sloppy with the ball, you really have to credit that to the Ramblers. Their defense is really stepping up right now and playing fantastic and really limiting the St. Ignatius team in the second half thus far.
Ignatius gets the ball, or excuse me, Loyola.
And this game's, you know, not out of reach by no means. At least I don't think so. Thank you. I think Ignatius is very capable of coming back. You know, they do have a 3-point threat and also an inside presence. So you really have to watch out for that if you're the Ramblers. You know, keep the foot on the gas pedal and don't let up at all right now.
Landon looking for someone to pass to. Gets it to Anghauser. Mangan almost loses the ball, but saves it.
Showing his athletic ability there as he's a two-sport athlete playing football and basketball.
Landon loses the ball. Ignatius gets the steal.
And you can see that Coach Levatino's not happy about that. Ramblers kind of being sloppy in that possession.
And number 5, Justin Owens gets the shot.
And you got Evans in here taking the ball up the court. Ignatius playing more of a zone defense right now with a full court press on.
Landon with the shot, and it goes in.
And a timeout is going to be taken here, I believe, by the Ramblers. A 30-second timeout.
A timeout has been called on the floor. 30-second timeout, Loyola.
And that is correct. 30-second timeout is charged to the Ramblers. Coach Levatino probably going to be talking some strategy right now as we have exactly 3 minutes to go at the top of the hour. It's 8 o'clock here in Evanston. A great game on our hands, a rivalry game, and one of the best of the year, and the best, you know, in high school basketball.
What do you think Ignatius has to do to get caught up with Loyola?
You know what? I think they came out, you know, fantastic in the second half. They drained that three-pointer, and I think they need to do more of that. I think what you want to do is you want to spread Loyola's defense out and, you know, create some open shots and, you know, find the open man. So, you know, I think you want to look for some more threes. You've been successful from the three-point line, so you might as well not stop. But, you know, Loyola's defense has been doing a great job, only holding them to 17 points nearing the end of the third quarter, so you have to credit them to that. Nice pass inside, but it's lost. And Ignatius' miscues and woes continue.
Landon loses the ball again as Ignatius gets the shot by number 21, John Dignan.
He made up for the turnover that he committed on the possession before, and Enghauser is quickly fouled by number 22, Derek Dingens. Excuse me.
That's the 5th foul for Ignatius.
And that's not what you want, because Loyola is going to get in their bonus. They're going to be able to pull away. And
Enghauser with the 3 almost goes in, but goes in and out of the basket. That would have been a great 3 for Loyola there.
Yeah, it's a 16-point game here with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. Ignatius definitely looking for a basket to ignite their crowd and get their student section going again. As an amazing Euro step is made there. One of the best I've ever seen.
It looks like Bennett Kwinsinski will be coming in shortly for Loyola.
Yeah, Will Bodkin is inside right now, playing in the paint, but he's being defended heavily by the Wolfpack. Enghauser sitting cross-court in the corner with nobody on him, but Quinn Pemberton chooses to drive, and he does convert.
Davis looking for someone to pass to. Gets the 22 and he makes the hook shot.
An incredible hook shot. They're really athletic. And Wolfpack staying in this game right now.
Enghauser is fouled hard. That was I'm very surprised by that call there. Enghauser's guard was pulling on him.
And Levatino is surprised with it as well. He is riding the referee right now.
I'm kind of confused how that's an offensive foul.
And I think, you know, Levatino is, and I think he has a legitimate argument. But, you know, it's just the way the game's called. You know, if they're calling it on both sides, I'm okay with it. But another wonderful shot there.
Davis gets another shot. I'm surprised Enghauser didn't take the 3 there. He was open.
And right now the Tides have totally turned. The St. Ignatius Wolfpack student section is on their feet and chanting that 7 Nation Army chant that we hear everywhere.
Do you think Loyola's going to shoot a 3 here or go for a layup?
Why not? No, shoot a 3. Take the momentum. You know, you want to quiet down the St. Ignatius crowd right now because they have all the momentum here going into the fourth, depending on what happens here, but they look to go inside. Quinn Pemberton, a shot.
Way off on the shot.
And that shot's no good.
We end the third quarter with Loyola leading 37-25.
And Jamila, thank you for joining us in the Jesuit Cup. It was an honor to have you on the call.
Thank you.
And Tyler's going to finish it off. And thank you.
And I'm back to rejoin you guys for the fourth quarter. I mean, what I just watched was unbelievable. I mean, I watched this Ignatius team absolutely ignite the crowd. I mean, they came alive.
Yeah, and you know, you haven't heard of them all third quarter until the last time. And then all of a sudden, the place was jumping. It was rocking.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you see the players waving their arms trying to get them up. Now, you know what? I mean, it's a fantastic run, obviously, by this team. But, you know, it's a 12-point game. You know, I mean, when you really look at it, Loyola really lost only 6 points. They had an 18-point lead. It's down to 12. If you're on Loyola's sideline, you're fine, because you know what? As long as you don't lose the fourth quarter by 13 points, you're fine. You know, it's less about winning. It's less about building on your lead than maintaining your lead. But I think that's why Coach Livicino is different from most coaches, is because he has the understanding that if you play not to lose, you're at a much bigger disadvantage than if you're going in and you're playing extremely aggressively and you're playing to win. Because, I mean, you see Pemberton out here as the leader yelling at his guys, telling them they're not going to score again. Yet they haven't, I mean, you know, obviously he said it at the very end of the half, but thus far they haven't scored since he said that. So, I mean, you know, I'm really excited for this fourth quarter because it's shaping up to be an unbelievable one.
And, you know, it always happens. I don't know how, you know.
Yeah.
It was last year similar. You know, it looked like it was going to be a blowout, and then all of a sudden, here comes St. Ignatius charging back. Yeah,
I mean, last year was the opposite. Ignatius had the lead early, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then Loyola came storming back. I mean, I remember how loud the crowd was from that Ignatius team, and it's no different here. They filled up just fine. I think, honestly, the student section last year was much more skewed towards Ignatius than this year. This year it's pretty even, and I think, oh, man, it's going to come into play, Edward. I think, you know, not to toot my own horn, but the first thing we said, not to toot our horn, but first thing we said was what? No matter what, neither team is out of the game, and I think that's showing right now. And
you know, theoretically, your team could come into this game 0 and 25.
0 and whatever, yeah, doesn't matter. I mean, it's a different game.
This game is a total different story.
Absolutely. I mean, this game,
year out,
it just means more here. It really does just mean more, and I am so excited to see how this is going to shape up, honestly. As Kwasinski lines up the three, no good. Brothers unable to come down with it. Now notice, a freshman's in the game. I believe that is Giles. Yes, I'm not positive if I'm saying that right, so I apologize if I'm not. But, oh boy, knocking down the pull-up jumper is Christian Davis. He's been key today.
And here comes the Wolfpack. I mean, they're on a roll right now.
It's a 10-point game here, and I mean, you know, they're lighting up the scoreboard. You hear how loud this crowd is. I mean, it's hard to hear myself think at this point. I mean, they're loud, and there's an answer from the Ramblers, but their crowd, I mean, our crowd's just not into it like they are, and I think that's something you got to respect about Ignatius. Is for them, this is the biggest game ever. I mean, they could go 0 and whatever in football, 0 and whatever in basketball, but the second they step on this court, man, I mean, it's a different story.
And it's been really an honor to be on the call here.
Absolutely. I mean, this is
Courtside,
great.
at Northwestern Stadium.
I mean, I have 2 more of these. You have 3. So, you know, I look forward to those games more than anything. I mean, almost more than, you know, football. So, as I believe that's going to send Davis to the line. Davis has had a great game. Him and Higginbottom are the 2 leaders. You know, Higginbottom being a sophomore, he's going to step into the role that Davis is leaving after this year. Davis is a great player, and he's done a lot in his career here at Ignatius. So, I mean, I legitimately think that with him and Higginbottom hasn't done much, you know, if we're being real here. He hasn't done much on the scoring end of things, but, I mean, you know.
Yeah, you have to credit that to Loyola, though. They were prepared. They know who's, you know, St. Ignatius' best players, able to shut them down at some points, even double-teaming them. And, you know, that's going to frustrate the Wolfpack just a bit.
And he's no good on the first free throw. Now, one thing I'm just going to note real quick, notice that Mangan's checking in the game, and I think we can agree that is to shut down Davis. Davis is the best player on this team. I think that's undeniable. He's been the best scorer today. He's been the best facilitator, and he's a great player. So look for Mangan to lock him up, because Mangan's the best defensive player, I'd say, in the building tonight. And the lane I believe that's a push called. That's going to go against Dingens, I believe. It will be against Dingens, and that puts Loyola in the bonus. They're going to shoot a 1-and-1.
Yeah, and just a costly mistake there. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I mean, your team has all the momentum, and they just
Yeah, I mean, that's almost just a momentum killing. I mean, that's almost, you know, it's a drive killing play right there. You know, I think that you can absolutely not afford to have a turnover and a. You know, Landon is a consistent guy. He's going to knock him down, and then he knocks down the first one. You know, these aren't free throws that these guys are gonna miss often. So, I mean, you know, keep your eye on the free throw game now, because Loyola is 2 fouls away from putting Ignatius in the bonus. But Loyola being in the bonus now is absolutely key.
Yeah, they're opening up a 14-point lead here now.
And
the Tides have turned back
Loyola's way a little bit, yeah. I mean, again, you know, I think that speaks to the grit of this team. You know, Father McGrath mentioned it. We mentioned it game in and game out. You know, this is a gritty team. That's why they're able to continue to win games, is because, you know, they're missing a couple of players. They're missing a key guy in Barrett again, you know. And this stinks for him, you know, as a senior not to be able to play in his final Jesuit Cup. But, I mean, this is just an unbelievable game. And there's a nice shot right there, as the Wolfpack bring it to a 12-point game.
Yeah, Wolfpack need a defensive stop. Open in the corner, and Krasinski just way overshoots it.
And that's going to be Ignatius basketball. That's a charge drawn by Ignatius. Or wait. No, you know what? That's going to go against Ignatius. I think that's a blocking foul. And, you know, fed up with the refs is Daniel Flory. He's been fed up all game. He's been jawing at them a little bit, and I think he might be coming out here in favor of John Digginen, sophomore from St. Isaac Jogues, who played very well in the sophomore game against Loyola. Obviously, Loyola was able to come out with a win in that game, but Digginen is a great player. So, I mean, look for him to get some open looks at 3, because, you know, he can knock him down when he gets them.
Yeah, and that just kind of sent the crowd into a bit of a clamor here, as they were really contesting that call. Bennett, though, able to knock down the free throws. Good job there. Clutch free throw shooter. And
that makes it a 14-point game here for Loyola. Higginbottom is trying to get it and is able to get it to Davis.
Yeah, and what St. Ignatius needs to do, they need to get baskets and be able to have a defensive stop. You know, the defense really needs to step up right now for them so they can chip away at this Rambler lead.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you really look at it, I think that Loyola's, you know, their defense is going to win the game for them. You know, I think that as it comes down to as the seconds tick off the clock, you know, Loyola's defense is going to be what's important, because Ignatius isn't going to settle for any bad shots. So Loyola's job is to force them to do so, you know. And I think that, you know, when it really comes down to it, if Loyola's unable to string together a couple stops here, you know, Ignatius is not out of the game at all.
No, not at all.
And Higginbottom open for 3.
That's
he
dangerous.
will shoot it, and he's good.
That is dangerous. Do not let him open.
And he's hyped. He's hyped. The sophomore here can flat out put the ball in the basket. We haven't seen it today.
If you get a stop here, it changes the whole entire game, but Nico's going hard.
And a stop is something they will not get. Begging for a charge is Matt Monroe, the head coach of this St. Ignatius team, and booing is the student section. But, I mean, that's not a charge at all. Wasn't even close. He barely made contact with him. And that brings it back to a relatively big lead for Loyola. It's 13, and again, not out of it by any means is Ignatius, but, you know, it's starting to tick down. You know, it's almost going to be too little too late, I think. You know, Loyola's got to, I mean, they've got to quickly, Ignatius, has to quickly turn things around on the offensive side.
Knock on wood, though, because you've seen these games in the past. I've seen crazier. There is 4:23 to go, so a decent amount of time, but it's definitely go time for this Ignatius team as they fire off a 3. No good.
No good, and Landon comes out with the ball. Landon able to dribble between 2 defenders, able to maneuver his way past them. Enghauser now with the ball. At what point, actually, you know what? Ignatius has a lot of time. And down.
Oh!
An exclamation point on what's been a great game here. And, I mean, look who it is. It's Megan guarding the best player here. Megan on Davis. And that's huge. I mean, that's a momentum booster for sure. That's 100% a momentum booster. This Loyola team just came out, and there's nothing better in high school than seeing someone throw down. I mean, that's a flat-out momentum changer. But you know what? So is a 3 from that sophomore. Goodness gracious, folks.
Mayhem is
it's a 10-point, or excuse me, it's a 12-point game, but
Mayhem is breaking out right now.
Yeah.
No one, I mean, there's the scorer. There's a big margin to score, but neither team's given anything. Is a no-look pass.
What a play by Nico Landon. This senior playing in his final Jesuit Cup game is able to make an unbelievable no-look pass.
And you know, Nico, it's a really great story. You know, he played football, but then he stopped playing football to fully focus on basketball. And what a great move by him. He's been such a successful player this year.
He's been great, absolutely. And that speaks a lot to his work ethic, is to be able to quit the sport that, you know, he treasures so much and be able to make the transition to basketball and really make that his main thing. And that speaks a lot to his work ethic and his grit and his mentality.
Yeah, and it's a 14-point game at 250.
And speaking, oh my goodness, but able to come down with it is Kwasinski. Kwasinski lines up a shot, no good. It'll be Ignatius' ball. Ignatius trails by 14.
It is go time. You have to go now. You've got to shoot some threes.
If they don't score here, it's,
foul.
I don't want to say it's out of question because there's a million seconds left, but, and a push called as Megan wanted to help him up. It doesn't look like he's going to let him. Davis is very unhappy.
Yeah, you know, in this situation, you know, obviously getting fouled, it's okay, but you really want to run your offense and not shave too many seconds off the clock. You know, even if they're fouling you. As the timeout is taken by the Ramblers, maybe even going in St. Ignatius' favor there, though, to try to set up a play here. But it's all Loyola right now.
It has been all Loyola. I think, you know, when they came out of the huddle and they were able to immediately knock down some shots, I think, okay, so, you know, when we really look at the game, what's that? I think what you look at after a game is what was the moment that turned the tides? For Ignatius, it was the three-pointers from that sophomore digging in.
Yeah.
But for Loyola, when I look back on this game, what am I going to think of? I'm going to think of the Kwasinski dunk. The fact that he was able to get that opportunity and take such great advantage of it is fantastic. And I mean, again, you know, that's a game changer, is a dunk in a high school game. That's an absolute game changer. And look for Loyola to continue taking that momentum because it's 2.5 minutes left and they're up 14. Ignatius needs a three-pointer and they need it now because it's getting to the point where it's about to be too little too late. You know, you can mount a comeback in the fourth quarter, but if it's within 2.5 minutes and you're down by this wide a margin, there almost gets to be a point where there's just not enough time for you to, you know, mount that comeback. And Ignatius is kind of walking a fine line between that. So if you're Ignatius, you need to come out here and just knock down a shot early because if they're not able to do that, it's going to be easy to count them out. Although, again, you know, as being such a great rivalry as this is, no team's ever truly out of it until the last second. And 1-2. Speaking of which, and guess who? It's the sophomore. It's Digginin. And that's a name you guys out there are going to have to learn because he's got 2 more of these as a junior and senior. And, you know, just going off of how he's playing right now, I don't think it's unfair to say that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with later on.
Yeah, definitely. And that really, really, really helps the St. Ignatius team. And he does convert. So this brings it back to a 12-point game, I believe. Excuse me,
11-point game.
11-point game, yeah.
And they're pressing hard. Pemberton's finally able to break the press as he gets it to Landon, and Landon gets it across half court. Landon's guarded closely by Digginin.
You want to foul here.
I think this is his own defense. Yeah, it is. And they're not fouling. I'm not sure why. They're not able to get the foul. Digginin pokes it away. They don't want to foul Pemberton. I think they want to get the foul on Mangan. And they have an opportunity here, but they're unable to get it. And they're not going to shoot. I mean, Ignatius is going to have to foul, so.
Yeah, and that's, you know, I don't know if that's Coach Monroe set that up, not to foul. But, you know, they've almost got a couple turnovers, but.
And he walked. That's a travel. That's a travel.
That is not good. That is not good.
No, that is not good at all. I mean, that's not a great play. I think he wanted to line up the dunk. He got it ready and just took one too many steps and then went up.
I thought that foul was going to be called and it was going to be an and one, but.
I did as well. That was very close to being a super costly mistake on Ignatius' part, not fouling.
Ignatius
but they
is
got away
taking a
with
bit
it.
too much time off the clock
He's
right
got
now, and then he's got 3.
And guess, of course he knocks it. I mean, of course. You couldn't have scripted it any better. It's a single-digit game, folks.
I told you that.
It's a single-digit game, folks.
I've seen crazier things happen.
In this rivalry, anything can happen. And guess who's on their feet, Edward? The Ignatius student section. And guess who's quiet? Actually, it looks like some Loyola fans are starting to head for the doors.
Folks, it's not over. You have not won this yet.
If any of you are out there and just left, I'm just letting you know you're going to want to keep watching here because this is an unbelievable game.
We just gained 5 more viewers, and thank you for tuning in at the right time.
We did, yeah. We just gained immediately 5 viewers. This is, and it's worth it. You know, to you guys who just joined, it's worth it. I mean, you're not going to regret that at all. This is an unbelievable game. Loyola was just up 18. And now look at this. It's an 8-point game. This is almost unbelievable to me that in the drop of a hat.
You know, if you have nothing to do for the next 10 minutes, you might want to stay here because we got a real barn burner on our hands.
We do have a barn burner on our hands. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a great finish. And again, it's going to be a high-scoring game. And just a quick correction. The scoreboard's wrong. It's the 4th quarter. I just made that switch. And 1.5 minutes remaining in that 4th quarter. We know you can't see the clock. Edward and I will do our best to keep you updated. And Edward slamming his pen along to the band here as the Loyola band trying to get some noise and ignite a fire into this Loyola team who needs a bucket right now. It's an 8-point game, and it's dangerous, folks. It's getting dangerous. This Loyola team now needs a bucket. I mean, it's coming down to whoever's going to score the most points in the last 1.5 minutes is going to win because it's going to be close.
Yeah, and they're going to put this full-court press on, and if they can get a turnover.
And they got it to Krasinski, and it's back to Landon, and now Loyola can finally start to slow it down a little bit.
A minute 30, you have to foul, I think.
I agree with you. They definitely need to foul.
Oh, but almost.
And they're not going to yet.
Great job of the Ramblers, really kicking it out.
And Loyola has all their shooters in, so, I mean, it's going to be difficult for them to find an opportunity to foul someone who's not going to drill their free throws. And back come the air ball chance. As if you recall, back in the 1st quarter, Pemberton airballed a shot from the Big Ten logo. And Ignatius has not forgotten. I guess that speaks to their education, as they're all smart enough to remember that. That was, I mean, that's good for them. Good for them, I guess. I mean, that any advantage that can be gained through the student section should be taken advantage. So you got to respect it. And he doesn't airball either of them. In fact, it didn't touch anything but net. Knocks them both down as they both switch. And look at the clapping. Senior versus senior. And the ball rolls in. It is back to an 8-point game.
Timeout, Coach Monroe.
Higginbottom's out of the game. And I almost think that Ignatius has been better without Higginbottom.
Yeah, I don't know. Is Higginbottom, in foul trouble? I'm not sure why.
I'm not sure either. He started the game. He played last year as a freshman. He's obviously a sophomore this year, but he's not getting much playing time. And when he has, he's played sparingly and hasn't been able to capitalize on many of his opportunities. So, you know, aside from the 3 that he hit in the corner, which was obviously a big play, it's been a bit of a rough night for him. So, obviously, he's happy to have a couple more years left to avenge it tonight, but nothing's out of question. It's an 8-point game here, and if Ignatius can force a stop and force Loyola to turn the ball over and miss a shot with 1 minute and 7 seconds remaining, it's Ignatius ball down 8. So
yeah, best case scenario though for St. Ignatius is on the inbound, intercept it, you know, kick it out and shoot a 3.
Yeah, it's getting close. It's getting spicy, if you will. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, you know, it's been a good one. You know, I knew it always comes down to the 4th quarter, it seems as though, in one of these games. And you can see, you know, this is where the real emotion and the real, you know, grit comes out of both teams. You know, and you really can find out who wants it more and who truly will be more aggressive and want to win this game. And Nico Landon is going to take the inbound now. I find it taking the inbound, but it seems as though you would want him outside in the court, so if they foul, he would be at the line.
Agreed. And Krasinski not happy with how the ball was just ripped away from him by Justin Owens. He will go to the line. And he'll shoot a pair. That's Bennett Kwasinski.
He's probably, I don't know, if you're St. Ignatius, he's probably the best guy, you know, you could, I mean.
Yeah, I guess on the floor he is the best guy you could foul. Just being the biggest guy. Landon's been lights out.
We saw in the, what is it, the Niles Notre Dame game.
Yeah.
He missed a couple free throws down the stretch, so.
And he knocks down the first one, which is great to see.
Got 1:06 to go here. And the USA flag is brought out by the Rambler student section after being warned for the whole game. It is getting a little warm in here.
It is getting a little warm in here. And he misses the second. That's exactly what Ignatius wanted. 1 minute remaining, folks. 3, 2-1. Under a minute now. 59 seconds.
Loyola's playing great defense right now. Almost going for the trap.
9-point game. He almost threw out of bounds.
Oh, they're being dangerous.
An alley-oop pass. Goodness gracious, it's a 7-point game. And he's trapped.
Jordan, but you don't foul Jordan. That's not good. You wanted to foul Jordan.
They did not foul Kwasinski. Instead, they fouled Pemberton. Pemberton has not missed from the line tonight.
Yeah, you really wanted to foul Jordan in that situation. Both Kwasinskis are out there. You know, Bennett's the better shooting of the two, but
yeah,
Jordan did have the ball for a great deal of time there, but they were not able to foul.
Now, Edward, I mean, when you look at how this game has gone, aside from the air ball that the Ignatius student section is continuously going after him about, it's been almost an impeccable game.
It has, and you know, that really shows, you know, Quinn Pemberton's senior leadership. You know, in these types of games, he's been around the program long enough, you know, he really knows it, and he's able to step up in these situations and really lead this team. And, do what he's been doing, which has been making free throws, but he misses
Except
one
for
right
that
there.
one. He misses that one. 40 seconds remaining. It's an 8-point game.
Oh, blocked.
Blocked by Pemberton, of course. And
Now that's a heads-up play there, folks.
Bennett Kwasinski is fouled.
I mean, that was key. Now, Loyola down the stretch here has not been so great in the free throw.
They've missed 2 already. Pemberton missed 1. Kwasinski missed another.
Chris Hughes is going to come in. He's got a pretty decent free throw percentage, so good
Yeah,
move there.
Hughes is more of a defensive player, which is why he's being subbed in here, is because he brings that fiery defense. And there's 35 seconds remaining, and Loyola leads by 8. Make it 9.
Almost misses there, but it goes in.
It's shaping up to be a Loyola win, but I mean, we've seen so much today. I'm going to have to find some wood to knock on. I'll just go on the floor underneath us, folks, but this has been unbelievable to me. I think that the fact that they were able to come back from such a large deficit in the way that they did, they just came storming back in the blink of an eye, the drop of a hat. By the time, like, you could have turned around, and by the time you turn back around, it's a single-digit game.
Yeah, you could have went out, grabbed your hot dog, and came back into the stadium, and all of a sudden, whoa.
Grabbed a hot dog from Mustard's last stand. Got to give a shout-out to the best hot dog place in Evanston. And open for 3, and unable to get it to go. Hughes can't get the rebound. Fouled.
I thought he was going to and one there.
I was a little afraid of that as well.
I might have left the stream if that would have happened.
I would have carried on without you, but it would have been a big loss, Edward.
Yeah.
Fighting to make this an 8-point game. Fighting to make this an 8-point game here. Hughes, the guy who recently checked in, missed an opportunity at that rebound. Had that ball gone in, this is, again, a different game. I mean, you look at so many little things that changed the game. You look at the 4 early turnovers from this team where they were, you know, whether it was traveling or just throwing the ball out of bounds. You look at the early turnovers that they made. If they're able to capitalize on even, 2 or 3 of those possessions, it's a whole different story. If Loyola knocks down all their free throws, different story.
You know, it's 2 shots, folks.
He misses the first, though.
And that was a must need with 22.3 seconds to go, and this is, the game's going to be virtually almost out of reach. I don't want to speak too soon. I mean,
it is a 3-possession game if he knocks this down. Now, to be fair, Loyola's in the double bonus. He did knock it down. It's a 9-point game now. Loyola needs hopefully to just get 1 or 2 points to bring it out of reach. But if they can knock down a free throw or 2, it's over.
Anghauser cross court, not past to him, though.
And they do get the foul on Kwasinski. That's Bennett Kwasinski who's going to the line now to shoot 2. They are in the double bonus. And he will shoot a pair, as, like I just mentioned, they're in the double bonus.
And with 18 seconds to go, that Jesuit Cup looms over on the scorer's table right now.
And he makes the first. Ramblers are now up double digits again. It's a 10-point game. And again, we've been saying it all day, but when you look at this game, this has been a much closer game than the score indicates.
Definitely. No, it's really been an aggressive, well-played game by both sides. And, you got to credit Coach Levatino and Coach Monroe, really preparing both teams, greatly this week. And, it's really fun to bring this game to you.
Yeah, it's been a great time. We really appreciate you guys tuning in. It's the fans. It's the guys that watch at home. Guys and girls, I should say, that watch at home that really, drive us to continue to do this. So we appreciate your support, and Loyola is going to take home the Jesuit Cup
for the second year in a row.
Second year in a row, and there it is, folks. Loyola Academy will take home the Jesuit Cup for 2019. You'll love to see it. We're so happy to see it. A well-fought game by St. Ignatius, unable to pull it out in the end. Excuse me. I mean, this was such a good game, Edward. When you look at it again, it's just a couple moments that define this game.
Definitely, and we're excited to bring it to you, but we have so many more good games to bring to you here on Rambler Stream in the month of February, so you definitely have to stay tuned and stay updated with us.
Absolutely, and I'm Tyler Langford.
I'm Edward Neiman. Thank you for watching.
And go Ramblers.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.